Hello again, everyone. Today I'm going to be swatching these Talon's Ecoline liquid watercolor paints. I have a few select colors, and I actually have some that I already purchased that are in more of the classic triad colors, you know, the primary colors, but these are ones to sort of supplement that. So I'm going to be swatching these today, but if you're interested in seeing the swatches of the other primary colors, just let me know and I will do a separate video on those, but I haven't done that yet. So I'll wait to get feedback on whether some people are interested in that. These are really, really interesting in that they are not true watercolor. They're made with, I think it's pigments. Let's see, liquid watercolor, because different products use different vehicles for the pigments that are in them. These basically what you need to know is this is not traditional watercolor, and it may not be as light fast as regular watercolor, although these are, I believe, artist grade, so they may have a little bit more light fastness to them, but they're not going to have the same characteristics as regular watercolor. So let's go ahead and swatch these and see what we think. I thought that these, oh yeah, so they do have the names on there. So this is just black. So I have black and white. This is white. So what I might end up doing with the white is put it over one of the darker, more opaque colors so we can see what the white looks like. And then here I have gold. I was interested in getting gold because I didn't have anything like that. And then this one is yellow ochre, which is a nice neutral color. This one is pastel green. And then here we have apricot. This is reddish brown, which seems more red than brown. And then this is indigo. Indigo is a color that I like to have in pretty much all of my media because I use it so often. So I'm going to be swatching these on this Pentalic watercolor paper here. This is my Pentalic watercolor field book that I do most of the swatches of water-based media on my channel. So I'm going to go ahead and do it there. I have a pot of water and a brush off to the side as well. I'm just using a regular watercolor brush for these. So I'm going to hang on to the white and do that one last. I think I might do the black first so that we can have that dry a little bit so that we can go back and do the white at the end. So in that case, I'm going to go from more saturated and darker to lighter colors here. And then I'll do the gold at the very end. Let's see, just try and get these in some sort of color order. All right, so one thing you want to do is shake these up pretty good. And these come in marker form as well. So you don't just have to get them in these little jars. These jars do have a nice little pipette here. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to wet that a little bit with my brush with a little bit of water. I'm going to try and make it the brush so that it's not super soaking wet. So, and then they're very, very pigmented, which is kind of nice because they make for really beautiful paintings on the page. You can use them just like you use watercolor, but like I said, they do have some different qualities. And I don't think you're ever really going to encounter, except for maybe gold, you're probably not going to encounter a granulating liquid watercolor because they tend to be pretty smooth. Okay, and then this is the indigo. I'm just going to make the same kind of even swatches for all of these. Oh, and that's beautiful. That's gorgeous. And you can mix these in a palette like any other watercolor. All right, and then this one was that reddish brown. Oh, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. just from this little swatch here. Oops, looks like I need more water. And one thing that you may encounter, you see how there's a little bit of a like a shadow of the color that I put down. That is more likely to happen on really absorbent paper with these. And if you want to make sure that it's really fluid and flowy, you can just put it into a palette so that it never touches the page, because otherwise you could get that little bit of staining. This is not as dark as I thought it would be, actually. Okay, and then this one is Apricot color. I'm actually going to go down to the next row. And you can see this is very transparent, this apricot color. A lot of these tend to be very transparent, with the exception of this black one, which is very, very opaque. And I think the white is opaque as well. So there you go. And I think you could add to the opaqueness of any of these by adding white or black, probably. But with black, it might completely get rid of your color because it will be too dark. Okay, and that was the yellow ochre, oh, which is a lovely color. That's beautiful. And these three would actually make a very nice triad, darker triad: indigo, yellow ochre, and that reddish brown. But you can still see some imprint of the line here of where I use the pipette. Okay, and then this is Pastel Green, which is also going to be really transparent. Oh, that's interesting. This one has a different dropper. This dropper is a little sideways, whereas the other droppers were straight. Wow, I would say that that is almost, that's almost fluorescent green. And again, you're getting some of that ghosting. Yeah, not sure I'm a big fan of that one, but these are all great. They're a little bit more neutral, which is like what I like a little bit more. So I'm now going to shake up this gold really, really well, because a lot of the gold has fallen to the bottom. So I'm going to shake that up really nicely. And it looks like our black is pretty much dry, so we could definitely put a little white on that after the gold. Okay, yeah, this gold's kind of thick, which is kind of interesting. It's also good to do the gold towards the end because you're definitely going to get some gold in your water. Yeah, this is much thicker than the other ones, which is kind of interesting. So I probably could have gone in here less generously with the gold. That's actually very interesting. I did not expect it to have that sort of texture. It's almost more like true watercolor. Basically just trying to get a lot of it out of my brush before I rinse that off. And again, I apologize for the glare with the light, but I will put this up to the camera in a better position after I'm done here so you can see them. Okay, so here's the white. I'm going to shake up the white. And yeah, the white is a little thicker too, which is interesting. So you can see the white is opaque over the black. So that's interesting there. Let's see what happens. There's still a little bit of this indigo that is wet. So I'm going to add, ooh, so I'm going to add some to the yellow too. Let's see if we can get that to kind of blend there. Yeah, and you can make any color a little more pastel by adding white. That's also why I got the white. But that's really pretty. You can see how it was not completely dry. And then let's go ahead and see if we can blend that in a little bit and make that a little bit less intense. Although I love that yellow ochre. It's really, really nice. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to do there. And so I got these along with several watercolor markers that use the same pigment type stuff. here, but in marker form. But I'm going to swatch those in a different video. So this is just going to be the Ecolines today, and then I'll do those separately. So you'll see those later on this week or next week. All right, well, that's all I had for you today. Feel free to subscribe to keep track of future videos on my channel. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask below, and I will answer them when I can. You can see how much thicker that gold is, because basically it came down in a thick line, and I didn't try to dilute it at all. It's it actually would make a pretty good mixer for these as well, to kind of make them metallic, or just as itself, because it's pretty opaque as a metallic paint, which is nice. I like that. So white and gold are thicker than the rest of them, and the rest of them are more fluid. And now that this green has dried a little bit, it's actually not as garish as it was when it was wet. So that's not too bad. But these two are definitely my favorites here. All right. Well, there you go. Hope to see you next time. Thanks. Bye.